Jason Anderson from the B had a chance, an exclusive, Jason Anderson, talked to Vivek Ranadive, and it wasn't just about the River Cats purchase. He wrote a piece today at SacB.com, and he asked him about Monte McNair and the contract situation, which I shouldn't call a situation.
Just
it's his contract.
Because just his contract.
He's entering the final year of his contract.
Yeah.
Now, I had asked Monte McNair at Media Day, just, hey, has there been anything with that? And his quote was, look, for me and my group, we're excited about what we've done. We're excited about Coach Brown is here. I'm the GM right now, and I've got a bunch of work to do, so I'm going to do that until they kick me out. I hope I'm here for a long time. Fine. It doesn't seem like it's an issue at all for him.
No.
But it was a question that a lot of fans were asking. It was some stuff that was brought up in national media, and I figured, all right, I'll just ask Monty about that.
Someone had to ask.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's not as if I thought he was going to break some news to me or anything like that.
Right.
So let's just give him a chance to do it and then allow the fans to read his comments. Well, Jason Anderson from the B did talk with Vivek about that. He says Ranadive was asked for his assessment of McNair's work and whether the two sides have engaged in contract talks. Ranadive says, quote, everyone's just been heads down, focused on the season, so we're just really focused on this season. Jason Anderson wrote, Ranadive went on to praise McNair and assistant general manager Wes Wilcox, specifically pointing to the hiring of Coach Mike Brown, trades for Domantas Sabonis and Kevin Huerter, and the selection of first-round draft pick Keegan Murray. He said, quote, I think Monty, Wes, the whole front office, the coaches they hired, the coaching staff, the process they went through, the trades they made, the rookie they picked, I'm very pleased with everything that's happened. I think right now the focus is let's win.
Love it. Great job. I mean, that's pretty much what I expect these people to say to the public or to a reporter right now, and that just well done, nothing weird about that or anything. And I really do believe that it's been communicated, like why it hasn't been done. It seems like they're all on the same page. Like they're all focused on the same thing, and that like it's not drama. Love it.
I mean, there's been no indication of that. There's been no reporting about that. So if McNair is like, whatever, I'll ride this out. I'll prove that I'm good, and you'll give me money, or I'll go somewhere else. I don't know.
Love it.
I think the perspective, because I know some fans out there have asked, well, why not just give him one?
Totally.
And I think you just look at the history, he hasn't had much success with this. I mean, if you really want perspective for a second, Vlade Divac is still getting paid by the Sacramento Kings this year. Luke Walton is still getting paid by the Sacramento Kings this year. And when he gave Vlade that deal, it was off the heels of that 39-win season that surprised everyone. They move on from Jaeger, right?
Yeah.
And then it brings in Luke. They were going to match up. Well, both guys aren't here right now. And maybe Vivek's thinking on this is like, hey, I like what you've done. You've done a great job. And let's see how it plays out.
And maybe that's it. And, you also had that other perspective, too, the other day, or you've said this before, about Monte McNair and maybe what he's going to be perceived as around the league if he has success, especially in this year. And, like, what that could even mean for his career. And it's like, if that happens, like, oh, you got to lock him up, like get him on that contract. But also, I get it. So there could be more of that going on behind the scenes. And
if they're cool with it, that's to me
cool
all
with
that
it.
matters. I mean, at the end of the day, if the Kings surprise people and have a really good season, well, Vivek's probably gonna have to pay up a little extra. But that's part of it. He, I guess, probably would rather not. All right, or we give this guy because he won the offseason, we'll give him an extension, and then we have to let him go in a year and a half.
Exactly.
I understand the thinking. I do personally think that Monty is the right guy.
I agree.
I think he's done enough. I think he took over a situation that wasn't like any other situation, okay? This is not like, hey, it's GM getting hired by any team. It's one of 30. It's like, no, this has been dysfunctional at times. There's not been winning. There's not a culture. There's been so much chaos on the basketball front that, this is a really difficult job to take over. He's had some hits.
Yeah.
He's had some misses, and he's had some, okay, we'll see. Right now, the Sabonis trade, I think most people in Sacramento are like, you know what, Sabonis is a really good player, but it's going to be tough to see what Halliburton turns into.
Sure.
And if Halliburton turns into a 10-time All-Star, All-NBA guy. I don't think any of us are going to be feeling good about what happened that day when they traded Sabonis for Halliburton, and then or Halliburton for Sabonis, and Monty McNair. At that point.
We wouldn't feel good, but you know how you would feel good if there was winning in between that time with this franchise, with this organization, right? Because then you're not looking at that too harshly, going, "Oh man, what it could have been." But if there's losing and then that. Yeah, that's when all hell breaks loose, and as it should break loose. So, I'm so glad Jason Anderson got that conversation with Vivek because it aligns with Monty and his answers. And again, it's just better than hearing what we're hearing in like Phoenix when guys are saying, we haven't talked since that night. And it's like, no.
Well, it's also like, hey, you address it now. It's hopefully not coming, because if you don't get those opportunities to ask Vivek that question or Monty, that stuff starts to linger,
Yep.
And look,
people speculate.
Let's also not lose sight of the fact that like it'll pop up again if they're kind of in the middle of the road. But I don't think it's really a question. I think if the Kings have a good year, he'll be around, and if not, they'll probably move on, and then we'll have to really debate if that was the right move then. But we're not there yet. We are still 3 weeks away from opening night. But I'm glad they addressed it. It's good to get that stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. Even in Brooklyn now, I mean, I feel like they talked about it day one. Nash addressed it.
Yep.
Right. Durant, Kyrie, they all got everything out. And now we're talking about basketball again. Now I'm watching highlight reels of Ben Simmons. I'm like, that's looking pretty nice. You know what I mean? So they talked about it. It'll be something to watch early in the season, but now they can move on until that point.
Exactly.
Let's just get to work.
Exactly. And that's why you hope sometimes coming into training camp, you have that stuff. Not sometimes, you always hope you have that stuff figured out, because you see Boston and the explosion right before training camp. And then, like we already mentioned, the Phoenix Suns and what's in training. It's like, you want to squash that shit before training camp starts. And good job to the Nets for doing that. And I'm excited to see how that can all turn out, because again, like we said, it is fun to see a player of KD's caliber, like, figure that shit out and stay with that franchise.